Settle into your pillow, let the edges of the day blur. Nothing needs to be solved tonight. We are just drifting together. At first, nothing feels unusual. You're walking, or floating, or standing in a place that feels familiar in the way childhood homes do. Recognizable, but slightly rearranged. The light is too gentle to be ordinary. Sounds arrive without urgency. Time feels padded, like it's been wrapped in cotton. And then something tiny happens. A detail doesn't behave the way it should. A clock refuses to keep time. A word on a sign melts when you look away. Your hands, when you turn them over, seem borrowed from another version of you. This is not fear, not yet. It's a pause, a soft hitch in awareness. Your mind doesn't shout, "This is a dream." It whispers, "Wait." And in that whisper, the world loosens its grip. This is the moment people try to describe and usually fail because it doesn't feel like waking up. It feels like sinking deeper while somehow becoming clearer at the same time. For most of the night, your brain has been building realities effortlessly. Entire cities from memory, faces stitched together from fragments, emotions without explanations. This happens every night, quietly, without asking your permission. But now, something rare occurs. A thin thread of awareness slips through the dream. Not enough to break it, just enough to notice it. You don't exit the dream, you arrive inside it. And what it feels like first is lightness. Not physical lightness, though some people do feel as if gravity has loosened, but a mental one. The constant background effort of being you fades. The weight of consequences, the pressure of continuity, the rule that moments must follow one another in sensible ways. All of that softens. There's often a brief rush here, a sparkle of excitement, a quiet, "oh," but just as quickly, the dream seems to respond. The world grows vivid, as if it's noticed you noticing it. Colors deepen, textures sharpen. The air itself feels present, almost touchable. This isn't imagination turning on, it's perception changing gears. The same brain that paints dreams every night is now allowing awareness to sit beside the painting without smudging it. And for a moment, you're both the observer and the world being observed. Science has a calm explanation for why this is so delicate. The dreaming brain is designed to keep you immersed. Awareness is usually dimmed, not gone, just quieted, so the experience can flow without interruption. When awareness stirs too strongly, the system destabilizes. The dream dissolves. You wake. And when it stirs gently, just enough, something extraordinary happens. You feel present without resistance. There is no urgency to act, no checklist, no mission, just a deep sense of being here. Many people expect fireworks at this point: control, power, the ability to fly or reshape the scene instantly. Sometimes that comes later, but first there is stillness. A peaceful knowing that nothing here can harm you, that this world is made of the same substance as thought, that even fear, if it appears, is more like a passing cloud than a threat. It can feel intimate, almost private, as if you've been invited backstage while the universe is still rehearsing. And something else often appears alongside that knowing: curiosity. Not the sharp, question asking kind, but a soft, open curiosity. What happens if I just stay? In this moment, the brain is doing something beautiful. Regions responsible for imagination, emotion, and memory are active, just as they are in any dream. But now, areas associated with self reflection and awareness are gently participating too, not dominating, just listening. That balance is fragile, which is why the feeling itself is so tender. It's like realizing you're floating. Only if you flail, you sink. If you remain calm, you glide. So most experienced dreamers learn the same quiet instinct. Breathe slowly, feel the ground or the air beneath you. Let the dream continue being itself. Because this isn't about control, it's about companionship. For a brief stretch of time, consciousness is watching itself dream. And instead of collapsing, the dream welcomes the witness. That's what it feels like to realize you're dreaming. Not power, presence, a gentle awakening that doesn't wake you up. Chapter 2: When awareness settles into the dream. Stay where you are. There's no need to move yet. After the first realization, the soft "I am dreaming," something subtle happens. The excitement fades, not because the moment loses magic, but because the mind learns how to hold it. Awareness settles. It's like stepping into warm water. At first, there's a shock of contrast. Then the body adjusts. The temperature becomes normal, comfortable, almost forgettable. That's what this phase feels like. The dream doesn't shatter. You don't wake up. Instead, the world grows cooperative. People often expect lucid dreams to feel sharper than reality. hyper detailed, overwhelmingly vivid. And sometimes they do. But more often, the sensation is quieter than that. The most accurate word is stable. The dream stops slipping away. Moments linger. Scenes don't rush you forward. You might notice your dream body now, not as a physical form exactly, but as a sense of presence. You feel where you are without needing to look. Movement feels intention based. You don't walk so much as decide to be somewhere, and the dream gently complies. And emotionally, there's calm. This surprises many people because waking awareness often comes bundled with anxiety, plans, self judgment. But here, those layers are missing. The mind has dropped its daytime armor. What remains is attention without tension. Thoughts still appear, but they are soft edged. They don't demand action, they float like lanterns on water. From a scientific view, this makes sense. During dreaming, especially during REM sleep, the brain reduces activity in regions that handle stress monitoring and logical error checking. That's why bizarre things feel normal. That's why emotions don't spiral the way they might while awake. When awareness joins this state gently, without pulling the brain fully toward wakefulness, you get clarity without pressure. And clarity without pressure feels like relief. Many people describe a sense of permission here. Permission to look around slowly. Permission to feel without reacting. Permission to exist without explanation. You might notice the dream responding to attention, not dramatically, not like a command, more like a conversation. If you focus on the sky, it seems to open, deepen, breathe. If you touch a surface, texture blooms, cool, warm, smooth, alive. If you listen, sounds gain depth, as if the dream wants to be heard. This is not the mind controlling the dream, it's the mind participating in it. And that difference matters because control implies force, participation implies trust. The more gently you attend, the more the dream remains coherent. This is why experienced lucid dreamers often anchor themselves, not with effort, but with sensation, feeling the ground, noticing breath, letting awareness spread evenly. Sharp attention wakes you up. Soft attention keeps you dreaming. Emotionally, this phase can feel deeply safe, even if the dream content is strange or shadowed. The knowledge that this cannot truly harm you changes how fear behaves. Fear becomes informational, not overwhelming. it loses its teeth. You can observe it. And often, when fear is observed without resistance, it transforms. Scenes soften, threats fade, the dream recalibrates to your calm. This isn't mystical, it's neurological empathy. The dream world is built from your own emotional signals. When those signals quiet, the environment follows. There's a tenderness to this state. You might feel grateful without knowing to whom, peaceful without a reason, curious without urgency. Time feels different now. Not slow, not fast, just wide. Moments stretch, but they don't drag. There's space between thoughts, space between actions, space enough to simply be. And in that space, many people notice something unexpected, a sense of connection, not to others necessarily, but to the experience itself, as if the mind is gently watching itself work and finding it beautiful. You're not analyzing the dream, you are accompanying it. This is often where the dream becomes most memorable, because memory likes calm attention. When the brain isn't overwhelmed, it records more clearly. The experience leaves a soft imprint, instead of evaporating at wake up. And yet, even here, nothing needs to be done. You don't need to fly. You don't need to test the limits. You don't need to use the dream. You can simply remain. Because what it feels like at its best is not excitement, it's harmony. Awareness and imagination moving together instead of competing. A quiet alignment that rarely happens while awake. And if you let yourself rest inside that alignment, the dream will carry you further. When you're ready, we'll move into chapter 3, where intention begins to gently shape the dream and meaning starts to surface without effort. Chapter 3, when intention begins to shape the dream. There's a moment, quiet and almost unnoticed, when the dream starts to listen. Not in the way machines listen, not like commands being obeyed, more like the way water responds to the shape of the shore. By now, awareness feels at home. It no longer startles the dream. It belongs here. And with that belonging, intention becomes effective. You don't try to change things. Trying creates tension. Tension pulls you upward, toward waking. Instead, you lean into a thought. A gentle curiosity forms. What if I moved this way? What if the ground lifted? What if I let go? And the dream answers. Sometimes it begins with movement, Not running. Running is too sharp, but gliding, drifting, rising, as if gravity has been reduced by a quiet agreement. Flying in a lucid dream doesn't feel like effort. There's no muscle strain, no flopping, no speed at first. It feels like trust, like the moment you stop tensing in water and realize it's been holding you all along. The body, if it can be called that, responds to belief more than force. When you expect to float, you do. When doubt flickers, you descend gently, not as punishment, but as feedback. The dream isn't testing you, it's mirroring you. And this mirroring is emotional as much as physical. If calm is present, the world opens. If fear tightens, the scene constricts. If curiosity expands, pathways appear. This is one of the most profound sensations lucid dreaming offers. Not control, but clarity. You begin to feel how closely inner state and outer experience are linked. Not metaphorically, directly. What you feel becomes what you see. And suddenly, the dream stops being just a place. It becomes a relationship. Many people notice that characters in the dream behave differently now. They don't feel like random projections. They feel responsive, sometimes wise, sometimes playful, sometimes deeply neutral. You might speak to them or simply sense them and notice that their tone shifts with yours. Hostility softens when approached gently. Silence deepens when respected. This can be unsettling at first because it suggests something intimate. The dream world is made of the same material as your emotional expectations. And yet, there's comfort here too, because nothing is truly against you. Even challenging moments feel purposeful, not threatening, like the dream is offering experiences rather than obstacles. Emotionally, this phase can feel expansive. Joy appears, not loud joy, but spacious joy, a sense of freedom that doesn't rush anywhere, a quiet confidence that nothing needs to be proven. Some describe it as childlike, others as meditative. But perhaps the most accurate description is this: it feels unburdened. You are not carrying a history, you are not managing impressions, you are not rehearsing the future. You are simply responding, and response without consequence is deeply liberating. This is why lucid dreams can feel healing, even when nothing dramatic happens. The nervous system experiences a state it rarely visits while awake: full engagement without threat. The brain learns, if only briefly, that awareness does not have to mean vigilance. That lesson Lingers. Sometimes intention reveals meaning rather than spectacle. You may feel drawn toward a place, a door, a horizon, a presence, and when you follow, not forcing, just allowing, the dream seems to arrange itself around that curiosity. Scenes unfold with a narrative quality, but without blood pressure. Things feel relevant, not symbolic in a puzzle solving way, but emotionally aligned. You understand without translating, and then, often without warning, there's a sense of depth, as if the dream is no longer just happening to you, but with you, a collaboration. At this stage, many people forget to do anything at all. They hover, they watch light shift, they feel the strangeness of being aware inside a world made of awareness. And that perhaps is the heart of it. Lucidity isn't about doing extraordinary things. It's about realizing that consciousness itself is extraordinary, especially when it turns inward and recognizes its own creations. And yet, even this phase doesn't last forever. The balance is delicate. Eventually, something changes. Energy fades. The dream begins to thin, not abruptly, not harshly, just a soft unraveling. And with it comes the final sensation, the one that often surprises people the most. When you're ready, we'll move into chapter 4, the feeling of living a lucid dream and why it stays with you long after you wake. Chapter 4, the gentle return and what lingers after. Nothing ends suddenly in a lucid dream. It doesn't snap, it doesn't collapse, it loosens. You may notice the edges first. Colors soften, distance stretches strangely. The dream world begins to feel less dense, like mist warming in early light. There is no alarm inside the dream that says you're waking up now. Instead, awareness begins to drift upward. The way a leaf slowly rises to the surface of water. Thoughts return before the world does. A faint sense of body, a whisper of bed, a quiet memory of where you are supposed to be. And still, the dream holds on for a moment longer. This is the most fragile part. If you reach for the dream, it fades faster. If you cling to control it, it dissolves. If you let go gently, the transition becomes soft. Scenes blur without vanishing. Sound dims instead of stopping. Movement becomes suggestion. It can feel almost emotional, this leaving. Not sad exactly, more like parting from a place that never asked anything from you and gave you space to simply exist. Then awareness tips fully toward the waking world. The body settles into gravity again. breath becomes noticeable. The room forms around you, quiet, patient, unchanged. Your eyes may open, or you may stay still, suspended between states. This in between moment, often just seconds long, is special because something has followed you back. The feeling, not the imagery, not the flying or the landscapes, but the tone, a calm clarity, a softness in attention, a sense that awareness doesn't always have to feel heavy. You might notice your thoughts are slower now, less insistent. Emotions feel distant, but not numb, like waves seen from shore instead of from inside the water. This is one reason lucid dreams stay with people, not because they are spectacular, but because they reveal a different way of being conscious, a way where presence doesn't equal effort, where awareness doesn't equal tension. Science understands this gently. During these moments, the brain transitions gradually out of REM sleep instead of snapping awake. That smooth handover allows emotional calm and memory clarity to coexist, something rare in everyday waking life. And so the experience lingers. Later that day, you might find yourself pausing more often, breathing deeper without trying, noticing textures, light, small details you usually pass by. Nothing dramatic, just spaciousness, as if some part of your mind remembers what it felt like to watch without rushing, to be aware without bracing, to exist without defending the moment. Lucid dreams don't teach you how to escape reality. They quietly suggest something else, that consciousness has more than one comfortable posture, that awareness can be gentle, that presence doesn't have to be loud, and perhaps most comforting of all, that the mind is capable of creating worlds and also capable of resting inside them. Tonight, as sleep comes again, you don't need to chase that experience. You don't need to repeat it. You don't need to control it. Dreams happen on their own. Awareness sometimes joins them. And if it does, you'll recognize the feeling, that soft moment when reality loosens its grip and you realize you are dreaming. Until then, rest here, breathe slowly, let the universe do what it has always done best, carry you gently into the dark.